All right, let's talk about lipoprotein metabolism and dyslipidemias. I know, it's a topic that trips up a ton of people, but you know what? It really doesn't have to be that complicated. In just the next few minutes, we're going to break it all down into a story that actually makes sense. So, let's just dive right in.
I mean, seriously, have you ever stopped to think about that? It's like trying to ship a truckload of olive oil through a river. It just doesn't mix. Well, your body has this absolutely brilliant solution to this problem. And once you get it, everything else just clicks into place.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll cover why fats even need these special transport trucks. Then, we'll meet the whole family of trucks, the lipoproteins. After that, we'll see what happens when the whole system breaks down. And we'll wrap it all up with a rapid-fire, high-yield review for your exams.
Okay, let's get right to it. Part 1. The core problem. Why on earth do fats need this special delivery service to begin with?
And here's the answer. It's simple, really. Fats like cholesterol and triglycerides, well, they're lipids. They're oily. And they just can't dissolve in your blood, which is mostly water. So what does the body do? It packages them up in these amazing little particles called lipoproteins. Just think of your bloodstream as a big, watery highway. The lipoproteins are the transport trucks, keeping all that fatty cargo safe and sound on its journey.
So now we know why we need the trucks. Next up, let's actually meet the family. It's a whole cast of characters, and believe me, each one has a very specific and very important job.
We've got 5 main players in this lipoprotein family, and their size really tells you a lot about them. We start with the absolute giants, the chylomicrons. Then we go down in size to VLDL, then IDL, LDL, and finally the smallest of the bunch, HDL. Just keep that size order in your head, from largest to smallest. It's going to be super helpful. This table lays it all out beautifully. Look at the chylomicrons. Those are your massive 18-wheelers hauling all the fat you just ate from your intestines into your body. Then you've got VLDL, another big rig, but this one's coming from the liver, also packed with triglycerides. LDL? That's like your local delivery van, dropping off packages of cholesterol to all the tissues. And HDL? Well, HDL is the reverse. It's the cleanup crew, picking up excess cholesterol and hauling it back to the liver.
And that brings us to this. If you remember literally nothing else from this entire explainer, please remember this. LDL is the bad cholesterol. Why? Because it's the one dropping cholesterol off in your arteries, which can build up into plaques. HDL is the good cholesterol, because it's doing the opposite. It's the hero cleaning that mess up.
Now, these trucks don't work alone. They've got a support crew. First, there's lipoprotein lipase, or LPL. Think of this as the loading dock crew that unloads all the triglycerides from the big trucks. Then there's ApoB100. It's basically the key that the LDL delivery van uses to unlock the door at its destination. And finally, ApoE. It's the signal that tells the liver, hey, time to clear out these leftover empty trucks.
And to really make that stick, here's a fantastic little memory trick. Just think, CLI helps LPL cut up the triglycerides, B100 binds to the receptors, and E helps empty the remnants. So simple, but so effective. Okay, so that's how the system is supposed to work. It's a beautiful, elegant system. But what happens when it breaks? This is where the story gets really interesting, and it brings us to something called the Fredrickson classifications.
Now, this table shows us all the different ways the system can fail. You can think of each type as a different kind of traffic jam. In type 1, you've got way too many of those giant chylomicron trucks clogging the highway. In type 2A, it's the LDL delivery vans that are backed up for miles. And look at that last column. Each type has its own special clinical clue, which is absolutely critical for figuring out what's going on.
Let's just zoom in on 2 of those physical signs, because they are so easy to mix up on an exam. If you see tendon xanthomas, these are fatty deposits you can see and feel on tendons, like the Achilles, you need to think type 2A. That's a high LDL problem. But if you see palmar xanthomas, fatty deposits in the creases of the palms, that's a classic sign of type 3, which is a remnant problem. Totally different thing.
All right, final section. We've built a foundation, we understand the system, and we know how it can break. Now let's put it all together and focus on what the examiners love to ask. Time for the high-yield review.
Okay, first up, let's say you see a patient and they have pancreatitis. Which dyslipidemias should be screaming in your head?
The answer is always the ones that are heavy on triglycerides. We're talking type 1 with all those chylomicrons, type 4 with too much VLDL, and type 5, which is a nasty mix of both. When triglyceride levels get that crazy high, they become toxic to the pancreas.
Okay, next question. Which types are you most worried about when it comes to early heart attacks and strokes from clogged arteries?
That's going to be the types that are basically just dumping cholesterol and these nasty remnants right into the artery walls. That's the classic calling card of type 2A and 2B, with their super high LDL levels, and also type 3, with all those leftover remnant particles building up.
And one last little pearl for you. This one is a visual. If you ever get a question that describes a blood sample where the plasma looks thick, creamy, or milky, that is a dead giveaway for extremely high triglycerides. You should immediately be thinking type 1 or type 5. It's an unforgettable sign.
And to tie it all together, to really lock it in, here's a final one-liner that connects every major lipoprotein to its disease type. Chylose in INV, LDL in 2, IDL in 3, VLDL in 4. Say that to yourself a few times. If you can remember that, you have pretty much mastered the core of the Fredrickson classification. Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer.